If the next 90 days were the only chance you had to rewrite your life, would you waste it scrolling or would you fight for it? Because 90 days from now, you could be unrecognizable. We're still stuck in the same cycle, telling yourself the same tired story. This isn't a motivational video. This is your wake-up call. You ever notice how when something is due tomorrow, you find a way to get it done today? Why is that? Because when the clock is ticking, when that deadline is staring you in the face, something inside you wakes up. It's like urgency flips a switch. Suddenly, distractions don't matter. Suddenly, Netflix can wait. Suddenly, you're focused, you're present, you're dangerous. Oof. That's what a 90-day plan does. It gives your life a clock. You see, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they never put an end date on their intentions. They say, I want to lose weight. I want to write a book. I want to start that business. But they never say by when. They never say how. So the dream just floats out there in the clouds. No urgency, no action, no progress. But give that same person 90 days, suddenly it's real. Suddenly it's measurable. Suddenly that wish becomes a mission. I remember being on set one day and I had this scene, man, it was deep. Had to dig into something painful. And the director said, we roll in 5. Now I could have told him I need more time, but guess what? I didn't have more time. I had 5 minutes. I had a deadline. And in that moment, I found something inside myself. I reached down deep because I had to. That's the power of a deadline. It makes you move when you don't feel like moving. It makes you dig when you don't think there's anything left to find. You want to change your life? Don't give yourself a year. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait for the new year. Start now and give yourself 90 days. Because when you give your life a deadline, you give your soul a fire. And when that fire burns hot enough, there ain't no excuse, no delay, no fear that can stand in your way. You don't need forever to change your life. You need 90 days of focus and a reason to finish what you start. That's the truth. Everybody's got dreams. You ask a room full of people what they want out of life, and they'll tell you the biggest, boldest visions you've ever heard. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to change the world. And you know what? That's beautiful. But here's what separates dreamers from doers. A plan. Because a dream without a plan is like a car without a steering wheel. It might look good sitting in the driveway, but it's not going anywhere. We got folks out here praying for a breakthrough, but don't even own a calendar. They talk about goals, but don't set alarms. They post quotes, but don't schedule action. You see, God, the universe, whatever higher power you believe in, it don't respond to wishing. It responds to work. And work without a plan, that's just movement without direction. That's running in circles with no finish line in sight. I remember early in my career, I had this audition. I wanted it bad. I was dreaming about it, praying about it. But I didn't just walk in hoping for magic. No, I studied the script. I rehearsed in the mirror until I believed every line. I talked to people who had been in that room. I had a strategy, a rhythm, a purpose. And I got the part, not because I hoped for it, but because I planned for it. Dreams are fragile. They don't survive on hope alone. They need structure. They need steps. They need deadlines, direction, discipline. You say you want to build something great? You want to live on your own terms? Leave a mark? Then stop dreaming in generalities and start planning in specifics. How many books will you read this month? How many hours will you practice that craft? What time are you waking up? Who are you cutting out? What are you cutting back? If your dream doesn't live on your calendar, it's not a dream. It's a delusion. So the next time you feel inspired, don't just get excited. Get organized. Write it down. Break it down. Schedule it. Own it. Because wishing is passive, but planning is power. And real change, real transformation, it don't come from dreaming. It comes from designing your life with intent. With intent. People always say, I just need to get motivated. They wait for the right mood, the right energy, the right playlist. They wait to feel like it. But let me ask you something. What happens when that feeling doesn't show up? Because motivation, it's a visitor. It comes around when it wants to. Sometimes it knocks at your door. Other days, it ghosts you. But discipline lives with you. It sleeps in your bed. It wakes you up when that alarm goes off, even when the sheets feel warm and your body says, not today. See, motivation is loud. It's flashy. It's the halftime speech with fireworks and music. But discipline, it's quiet. It's consistent. It's that invisible engine that keeps you moving when nobody's clapping, when nobody's watching, when nobody's cheering. I've seen talented people fall off because they relied too much on motivation. And I've seen quiet, disciplined folks rise all the way to the top because they didn't wait for inspiration. They just did the work. I remember days on set when I was exhausted, body tired, voice gone, eyes heavy, and I had to walk out and give everything like it was the first take of the day. Not because I felt like it, but because that's what the job demanded. That's what excellence demanded. You can't live your life based on how you feel, because feelings change, seasons change, moods shift. If your progress depends on feeling ready, you'll never move. But if you build your life around discipline, waking up when you said you would, putting in the work you promised yourself, keeping the promises no one else sees, that's where the transformation begins. That's where success lives. Discipline is about showing up even when motivation took the day off. It's about training your mind to follow through long after your emotions have checked out. But motivation might get you started, but it's discipline that gets you finished. That's what separates those who dream from those who deliver. We live in a world where everybody wants the full version of success, but they're not even willing to download the trial version of effort. You tell someone, give your best for 90 days, and they act like you asked them to move a mountain. But let me ask you something. What's 90 days out of your whole life? Yeah. 3 months, 12 weeks, 90 sunrises. That's all I'm asking for. Not a lifetime, not forever, just a season. Because in 90 days, you can start something that rewires your future. You can build discipline, you can break patterns. You can become a version of yourself that even your past can't recognize. This isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's not about changing your entire life overnight. It's about making a choice. A deliberate, focused choice to give 90 days your full attention. You treat it like a trial version, like a sample of who you could be if you really committed. You don't have to sign a lifetime contract. You're not locked in forever. You're just saying, let me see what happens if I go all in just for a little while. Because the truth is, most people never change their lives, not because they can't, but because they never try long enough to feel the shift. They quit after a week. They fall off after 2. They wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect mood, the perfect timing. And guess what? That timing never comes. But you say, for 90 days, I'm turning the volume down on excuses and the volume up on action. You stop chasing motivation and start chasing momentum. You take ownership of your energy. You take responsibility for your routine. You take one small decision every day and let it compound. Because when you zoom out and look back, those 90 days, they won't just be a blip. They'll be the blip. They'll be the blip. It's hard for me, Mike. I can't do it. the moment everything began to shift. And even if you fall, even if you stumble, even if you mess up on day 12 or day 37 or day 88, you keep showing up. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about proving to yourself that you can. So don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for certainty. Don't wait for next year. Treat the next 90 days like a sacred window, a test, a mission. Because if you can lock in for this short season, you just might unlock the version of yourself you've been trying to meet your whole life. We live in a world addicted to big moments, big breaks, big paychecks, big wins. Everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants the shortcut. But nobody's talking about what really builds greatness. Small wins, tiny victories, quiet progress. The kind of work that don't get applause, that don't trend online. But when you stack it, day after day, it changes everything. You think champions are made under stadium lights? Nah, they're made in silence. They're made in the reps nobody sees, in the discipline nobody claps for. You want to change your life? Start small, start consistent. Read 10 pages, drink your water, wake up 30 minutes earlier. Go for that 20-minute walk, write that paragraph, make that call, and then do it again tomorrow. You won't feel the change on day 1 or day 2, maybe not even day 10, but something's building, something's shifting quietly, powerfully. Because here's the truth, consistency compounds, like drops of water that carve out stone, like bricks laid one by one until you've built a fortress. It's not about doing one thing for 30 hours. It's about doing something for 30 minutes every day for 90 days. That's how confidence is built. That's how habits form. That's how the gap closes between where you are and where you want to be. But most people give up before the magic kicks in because they don't see the fireworks. They don't hear the crowd. They think nothing's happening. Let me tell you something. The biggest changes happen in silence. You won't always see the fruit in the beginning, but trust me, those roots, they're growing deep. And one day you'll wake up and realize you're no longer trying to be that person. You are that person, not because you made one grand leap, but because you honored every small step. So stop chasing the big moment. Start chasing momentum, because when you stack small wins day after day, they become a wall no failure can climb, a rhythm no resistance can break. It ain't flashy, but it's unshakable. And that's how legacies are built. Life will make you choose whether you like it or not. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're choosing between two kinds of pain. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline? It's tough, no doubt. Waking up early when your body wants to sleep. Saying no to what feels good in the moment so you can say yes to what matters in the future. Sticking to a plan when your emotions are screaming for comfort. That's discipline. It's not pretty. It's not fun. And a lot of the time it's lonely. But you know what discipline gives you? The kind of peace that comes from knowing you showed up for yourself. The kind of strength that comes from doing the hard thing, even when nobody was watching. Now let's talk about the other pain. The one people don't like to speak on. The pain of regret. That pain is cold. That pain is quiet, but it lingers. It shows up years later when the opportunity is gone, when the chance to be great has passed. It whispers things like, what if I had tried? What if I hadn't quit? What if I had taken myself seriously? Regret doesn't punch you in the face. It drains you. It eats at you slowly. You carry it in your posture. You feel it in your silence. And I've seen that pain in people's eyes. Eyes that say, I could have been more. But I didn't choose the work. I didn't choose the fire. I didn't choose discipline. And now I'm living with the weight of what could. Discipline is temporary discomfort, but regret is permanent. So when you're tired, when you feel like skipping the work, when your mind says, take it easy, I want you to picture the version of you 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and ask yourself, will that version of me be proud, or will they be in pain? Because the truth is, either way, you're going to feel pain. The question is, which pain are you willing to live with? One pain makes you better. The other breaks you slowly. So if it's going to hurt, let it be the kind of hurt that builds something. Let it be the kind of pain that shapes you, not the one that haunts you. Choose wisely. Choose discipline. Too many people walking through life like they're extras in their own movie. Just background noise. Drifting through scenes they didn't choose. Living in stories someone else wrote for them. Doing what they're told. Playing it safe. Hiding their voice. Dimming their light. So nobody feels uncomfortable. But let me tell you something. This is your story. Not your mama's. Not your boss's. Not your friend group's. Yours. And you better start acting like it. You weren't born to be a bystander in your own life. You weren't meant to blend into the crowd, to shrink in rooms you were called to stand tall in. See, life is going to keep handing you scripts full of doubt, full of fear, full of limits. They'll tell you who you are, what you can be, what you're not good enough for. Rip that script up. Write your own. Start showing up like you believe you belong in the scene, like you believe you're here on purpose, because you are. You want to change your life? It doesn't start with money. It doesn't start with a new job or a fancy car. It starts when you wake up and say, I'm the main character now. I'm not waiting to be rescued. I'm not waiting for someone to pick me. I choose me today. You step into your power when you take responsibility for your story. Not blame, not guilt, not shame. Responsibility. You stop pointing fingers. You stop playing victim. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You take the pen in your hand and say, this next chapter, I'm writing it different. And you know what happens when you do that? Everything around you starts to shift. People treat you different. Opportunities show up. Doors start cracking open. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You started walking different, talking different, moving like you matter. Because you do. So enough waiting, enough hiding, enough playing small. You've got one life, one story, and every day you get to decide, will I let life write it for me, or will I step into the scene and own it like it's mine? Because the truth is, you are the main character. You just got to start acting like it. You ever watch a movie where the last 10 minutes change everything? The story could be slow, messy, full of mistakes, but that ending, that final act, that's what people remember. That's what defines it. Well, guess what? The next 90 days are your final act. Not the end of your life, no, but the end of this version of you, the one that's tired of talking and ready to become. It's time to close strong. I don't care how the last 90 days looked. Maybe you slipped. Maybe you stalled. Maybe you spent too long stuck in your head, waiting for a sign. But let me tell you something. You don't need permission to restart. You need decision. Right here, right now, you decide. The next 90 days won't look like the last. Because average is loud in the beginning, but quiet when it's over. And greatness is the opposite. It might be quiet at first. It might not come with applause, but it closes the show. It finishes the race. It writes the final line with fire. So start showing up like it's the end of the movie and the world is watching. Start talking like your words carry weight. Start moving like the clock is ticking, because it is. This is your chance to prove to yourself that you're not all talk, that you're not the same person from 6 months ago, that you don't just dream big, you move bold. And no, you don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be relentless. That means waking up when it's hard, saying no when it's tempting, pushing through when it's quiet, when it's boring, when it feels like nobody sees the work. Because on day 91, when you look in the mirror, you'll see someone who didn't fold, didn't flinch, I didn't run. You'll see someone who rose up and took the pen back. That's what it means to close strong. That's what it means to make the next 90 days unrecognizable. And the only thing standing between you and that version of yourself is the decision you make right now. So make it, then go finish the scene like your life depends on it, because it does. So here we are. You've heard the truth. You've felt the weight of it. Now the question ain't whether the next 90 days can change your life. The question is, will you let them? Because there's a version of you that only shows up when you decide enough is enough. A version that doesn't beg for motivation, doesn't wait for perfect timing, doesn't talk in maybes. That version, they commit, they move, they become. Look, I'm not promising easy, I'm not promising perfect, but I am promising possible. Possible if you stop chasing comfort and start chasing greatness. Possible if you stop being a spectator and step into your role as the main character, as the author, as the architect of your future. 90 days. That's all it takes to turn whispers into war cries, to turn habits into muscle memory, to turn the life you dream about into the life you wake up to. But nobody's going to hand it to you. No one's coming to save you. It's you versus you now. So stand up, get clear, pick your goal, circle the date, and go to war with your own limitations. Because when the dust settles, when the clock runs out, when that 90th day comes, the only thing that will matter is this. Did you show up for you, or did you shrink back into comfort? This is your time. This is your moment. Make it unforgettable. Now go write the next 90 days like your future depends on it, because it does.